Reserve evictions in Kibera. John Chaboy, the Deputy Director of Communications at the Kenya Urban Roads Authority, is now joining us live to appreciate the government's action with regards to the ongoing Kibera Road evictions. A lot of talk has been and a lot of reaction has been elicited from this particular incident in Kibera. Since morning, the demolitions began. Our reporter Shadrach Miti spoke to us earlier, giving us an update of what really is happening on the ground and, of course, talking about residents who are still very unhappy about what is happening in Kibera currently. John Chaboy, the Deputy Director of Communications at the Kenya Urban Roads Authority, or KURA, if you like, now joins me in studio. Thank you very much for joining us. Kindly give us a status update of how things are currently in Kibera.
Thank you, Akisa. At the moment, Kibera is calm. We are actually removing the structures currently. It's ongoing. We expect that by end of today we will have finished the section of Makina. That's the first section. We still have two other sections which might be done tomorrow and the following day, Mashimoni and Lindi. So the process is ongoing, and I thank the Kibera residents because it has been very calm. And people are just, they are taking their belongings. It's only the structures that we are demolishing now.
Our reporter is on the ground, and he spoke about residents saying that there was no clear indication that these demolitions would be happening today.
Well, that is not true, because you remember last week, the notice ended on 16th, which was on Monday. And we actually told the team to wait for us to finish the wrap exercise that we undertook last week, and it ended on Friday. On the same Friday, I went to the radio station called in Kibera and informed the public that they should actually use the weekend to demolish and salvage what remains of the structures, because the exercise is over and we were supposed to now, anything could have happened. And they were aware that anything was going to happen from Monday, because we just asked them to requested them to wait for just a few days so that we can actually finish that exercise, and we are done. We have enumerated about 2,000 households. We're still working on the report, and we are hoping that by Wednesday we will have finished it so that we see what will be the way forward. Yeah.
There's been a question of school-going children, and a request that had been put forward to KURA to just wait until when schools were closed to let families reorganize themselves. I mean, is this something
we held a meeting.
Request you got?
In our office, we held a meeting with the members of the Kibera community, owners of schools, and we told them to make arrangements. That was about 3 weeks ago. We told them to make alternative arrangements so that we can have the children actually finish their studies. Some of them, I was even in Kibera last week on Friday. Some of them, like Mashimoni's quarters, closed early with the hope that they were going to re-strategize and open earlier, because that time was not far away. So they said they better close early so that they can actually organize to have the school open early next term. So they were aware. We had told them that 16th, that eviction notice was not going to be lifted by anybody.
From where you sit, do you think 3 weeks is enough to reorganize the school schedule for children? You're thinking about where to stay. You're thinking about how you will re-strategize on how your children go to school. Do you think 3 weeks is enough? You
need to understand that this notice has been in Kibera for so long. When the road started in 2016, people were aware. And we actually informed them as far back as 2012. And most people actually, when we told them now it has come to the end, because the section that was free, we've already done. And the remaining section is just about 600 meters or so. So, and Kibera is big. The section that we are only entering is just about 10 acres. Out of the 600 acres that Kibera has. So literally you can actually find that the space, somebody can still look for a school nearby. They can still, even some of those schools have already located, they have found some space somewhere else. And the others, it's not totally affected. They can actually move the classes to the other area. So really, there's a way. And remember also, this project was supposed to be ending anytime soon. So we are running out of time. If we've been lenient all this time, giving people time to reorganize themselves. So really, you can never be ready.
For the sake of our audience, take us through the schedule for this particular project.
The project started in 2016. It's 4 kilometers. It's not even supposed to take all this long, but remember that this is Nairobi, and we've been putting up roads in some sections which are very occupied by the public. So we have already done about close to 3 kilometers that is already finished. So, and it's about 75%. The section which is free is about 75% complete. So we actually want to have the section completed so that the public can get value for their money.
Human rights groups have cried foul, saying that there are some human rights that have been impeded in this particular eviction. And there are some that you've also had in your meetings, in your enumeration meetings. Did you manage to hit middle ground with human rights groups especially, and some of the concerns they had about this exercise?
We have done so. Note very well that this is a land that belongs to government. You cannot compensate that belongs to government, because you can compensate somebody who is having a title. These people have no title. Two, when they started constructing also, they were aware that this is a corridor meant for, set aside for roads. Human groups have been, societies have been with us. They have been engaged us. We've had a very good opportunity to speak to them. We've even gone further to bring on board our National Kenya Human Rights Commission and also the Lands Commission, so that we can have an understanding. Because if it is only Kura alone, you would imagine that it's one-sided. But we brought other stakeholders so that we can actually have some kind of a clear level of understanding. And really, we, as an organization, we've really done much on this. Even along Outer Ring Road, we've been doing the same. We have also done on all our projects have this kind of this kind of settlement, because urban areas are always full. You can't find space in urban areas. So this is what we have been doing.
All right, and do we expect to see this kind of evictions in other projects in the few days to come?
Yes, we still have some sections that have problems. One of them is a section within Parklands, Ring Road Parklands. It's called Deep Sea, which will be maybe the next one. We also have another section in Accra, between Accra and Ngara. There's a section there near the so-called Nyayo Market, where we also have to remove people there because it is on the corridor, and the contract is overdue. The contractor has been waiting for that section cleared so that he can complete the section.
Do these groups of people have a notice already that these evictions will be coming next to them?
They are aware. They are aware. We are actually maybe just doing the last notice for them. Otherwise, they have been aware. We have engaged them. They have been coming to our offices. We've had a series of meetings with them, and it's a common knowledge that they know they are on the road, and they know what is going to happen.
So then, what happens to the 2,000 people you say you have enumerated from Kibera? What are we likely to see?
We are likely to have enumeration, and then after that, we see what kind of the Constitution, Article 40, subsection 4. Gives government the right to, or us the right to give somebody who has been occupying that corridor something. That it's just out of goodwill. The story of goodwill is here. So we will organize to see how we can assist them, have something that they can actually move peacefully and settle themselves wherever they have found a place to settle. But the owners of the structures, remember, also are making money. These are people who have been occupying that land, and they put up structures, and they have been having money. They have been collecting rent from the residents, and they are okay. They are not people who are, you cannot really say that they are crying so much, but it's just that they are used to it, and they have been there. But otherwise, it is not really that the government should compensate them, no. It's just that goodwill.
All right. Thank you very much for coming and just giving us the Kura side of the story here in studio. John Chaboy is the Deputy Director of Communications at the Kenya Urban Roads Authority, is saying the residents there had sufficient notice that this particular exercise would be going on today. It began earlier on in the day. Our reporter Shadrach Miti has been there covering these evictions and demolition as they happen. Of course, in our subsequent bulletins, we'll continue to keep us up to speed with what's happening. Once again, Mr. Chaboy, thank you very much for joining us here on KTN News Desk. I want us to take a short break as we are almost wrapping up the first hour of KTN News Desk. Remember, coming up, we expect a press briefing any minute now now being addressed jointly by Trade and Industrialization Cabinet Secretary Peter Munya together with the Kenya Bureau of Standards on the sugar probe and the politics surrounding sugar currently. This and more still under for you. Don't go too far.
This is KTN News.